Yo guys, it's Kyle coming at you from Bane's Film Reviews. I've been gone for a while, but I'm excited to be back. I just saw Immaculate starring Sydney Sweeney, which apparently is a film that she's put a lot of time and effort into, that she spent many years trying to get made. She was one of the producers of the film, and I just want to shed some light on this film. And this is going to be part of a series where as soon as I get out of the theater, I'm just going to sit my butt down in my car and just briefly review the film that I just saw. So starting with Immaculate, again, starring Sydney Sweeney. It's a film that follows newly vowed nun Cecilia, played by Sydney Sweeney, finds herself pregnant, isn't quite sure how, and the story goes on from there. It's a relatively predictable story. There wasn't a lot that shocked me in terms of the narrative. However, the narrative is relatively compelling, and that is about the most compelling part of the film, honestly. Beyond that, there's not a whole lot that entertained me throughout. With that said, though, Sydney Sweeney is an actor that I have tried desperately over the course of the past few months to get on board with. Whether it was Anyone But You or Madam Web, I was trying to find something to love about her, and I was struggling to find what people liked about her other than the way she looked. This is the first time that she really shined. She has a lot of difficulty expressing emotion through her dialogue, but she does a great job in, the nonverbal aspects of her acting that I really appreciated. And she does help to drive that story forward. And again, with that being the most interesting part of the entire film, it helps that she's able to drive it forward, because without that, I think the film fails completely. Beyond that, this is your typical horror, religion-related horror film that is, for all intents and purposes, a film that doesn't like religion, which is fine with me. I'm not one of those people that gets offended by, much of anything at all. So you just be warned that if this is something that might offend you, avoid it. It's not appealing enough elsewhere for this to, for you to come out to the theater if that's something that's going to bother you, which is a fair enough point for it to bother you. Beyond that, it's a pretty standard horror film. It doesn't do much to explore other parts of horror that we haven't seen before. It uses pretty rudimentary jump scares to propel the horror or to even introduce it at all. In the last 10 or 15 minutes, you get a lot of blood and gore, and that will appeal to some moviegoers. But overall, this is a really, I can't even say average film. It's a below average film, and honestly, with so many gimmicks throughout. They use nudity to propel the story forward, if you even want to say that. They use nudity to get people in the theaters, and I think that that's something that people expect now with Sydney Sweeney, so you sort of know what you're getting when you get in there. It's, again, a below-average film that doesn't do much to lend itself to success. The narrative is fine, the most compelling part of the entire film. Sydney Sweeney does a pretty good job compared to past performances of hers, at least of things that I've seen her in, and I don't really love this film, if that wasn't clear already. I'm going to give this film a 3.5 out of 10, which, if you keep up with me, go see it if you want. I wouldn't recommend going to see this in theaters. I wouldn't recommend renting this or paying for this at any point. I would wait for it to be free and accessible in other ways. And then, if you have some time, if you have an hour and a half, it's a relatively short film, check it out, but don't expect too much. I've warned you ahead of time. And then special shout out to the mother that allowed two 11-year-old girls, I'm guessing on their ages, to watch this film by themselves. Again, a film played with nudity and blood and heavy horror themes throughout. So kudos to you, Mom, for allowing these little girls to sit through this film, not with you, but by themselves. And they talked the entire time, so that was awesome. Not only that, that mother came to visit, which is how I know it's the mother, because she came to visit them with an even younger child in the middle of the film. And for 5 minutes, she sat there and talked to them. Get your stuff together, man. Do a better job. I'm not saying this is what's wrong with the world, but it's a problem. So, again, just to backtrack, Immaculate, I give it a 3.5 out of 10. Watch it at your own risk. Don't pay for this. I do not advocate paying for this film in any regard. I paid 53 cents with my movie pass, and that's probably a little more than I'd like to have paid. With that, I'm checking out. Can't wait to talk to you guys next time. Peace.